Hello again, everyone. This is Rome Business Radio, and we thank you so much for joining us. We are broadcasting from our studios in the Hardy on Broad space in downtown Rome, Georgia, on Broad Street. We work in cooperation with the Rome News Tribune. I am Roger Manus with Rome Business Radio.
I'm Carly Parker with the Rome-Floyd Chamber. Today on the podcast, we have Justin Shepard with River Remedy Brewing Company, Matt Hart with Boy Scouts of America, Renee Blackburn with Free Clinic of Rome.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hello.
How we doing?
Good.
Justin, it's a little early, but did you bring any beverages?
No, I did not.
I was really hoping for a sour.
I had one job.
Next time.
Most people kickstart their day with coffee or something, but just wanted to cut to the chase. Well, seriously, thanks everybody for joining us here for the Rome-Floyd Chamber Small Business Spotlight. So we'll just kind of go around the room here briefly, get a little big picture of your organizations, for a minute or two, and then we'll continue our conversation in our cocktail party without the cocktails. Renee Blackburn, Free Clinic of Rome. Tell us a little bit about what it is you guys do.
I'd be happy to. So Free Clinic of Rome has actually been around. Next year. We will celebrate our 20th anniversary.
Oh, congratulations.
We've been here for a while now. Born and founded here in Rome, Georgia. A lot of people know, there used to be a lot of soup kitchens. Now there's the community soup kitchen, but there used to be about 4 different churches that had soup kitchens, and volunteers at those kitchens realized that the folks that were coming in to be fed were getting their nourishment needs taken care of. Their sheltering needs were being met here in Rome, but nobody was addressing their medical needs, and they were dire. So once that was realized and somebody wanted to do something about it, they started once a month at the Salvation Army with volunteer doctors and nurses. Had everything stuffed into a little closet, blood pressure cuffs, privacy screens, stethoscopes, all went to the closet once a month, came out, and folks were seen at the Salvation Army. Long about 2003, it was founded in 2006 and 2007, board of directors, executive director, and articles of incorporation were taken care of.
You got all legal.
Yeah, that's right. Got it all legal, and we became an official 501c3. A lot of folks know Barbara Earl, who is a great community service here in the area, and she was executive director for the first 9 years at the clinic, and then she is my mentor. I came in 6 years ago, and she is on my speed dial still, and she handed the baton over to me, and I have been able to be the director there since. We actually provide medical care to those with no insurance in the area. That are low income, 200% or below the poverty level. Faces on that have changed a lot over the years. Best example I like to give people is, back in 2008 when Northwest Regional was still here and up and running, and then all of a sudden shut down, there were over 1,000 employees here in our community that had great benefits from the state of Georgia that no longer had any benefits at all, but they still had diabetes or hypertension or those things going on. They still needed their medicines on a daily basis, and Free Clinic saw an influx there. A lot of what we've seen over the past few years has just been, I think now the term, is it gig workers, y'all? Is that what you call folks that have like a little bit of a part-time, or it's no insurance or no benefits, a lot of tips but no benefits? We have a lot of folks that work those part-time jobs and just don't have insurance. So we do have a good homeless population that we care for. We do have a lot of folks that just can't afford insurance or are not working because they don't really fit into the disabled category to receive a check. They just need a lot of help, or they're working those 2 and 3 jobs trying to make ends meet, and no insurance is offered.
Okay.
I'm not laughing about that. I'm laughing because somebody in here is like totally commiserating.
Yeah, Justin was this is a podcast, Justin. People can't see you pointing at yourself.
Oh, I know.
There's no video, but maybe in the future we'll be able to televise this. But Justin, let's swing to you with River Remedy Brewing Company. I did a little Googling. First of all, how did you guys get started? How long you been around? And what's the story behind River Remedy?
So we opened up in December of last year in 2021. It was a project we started in about late 2020 between me and a few others. I have been in the craft beer industry for about 6 years now, almost 7. And I had made the leap into a brewery back in 2020 and helped open a brewery in Calhoun called Freight and Rail. I did not own part of that, but I was asked to come help open that up. And it opened up in late February when the state shut down all the stuff in March. So it was a whole thing. And unfortunately, that brewery is no longer around. They did not make it out through 2020. But that gave me the opportunity, once I saw a lot of the workings and all that, to start my own project with it. And talked to some like-minded individuals that I've known in the beer industry for a while, mostly regulars that I've had and things like that, and really good friends. And people that are always telling me, "Hey, you should brew this. You should make this beer and sell it." Like any hobby. If you get good at a hobby, all your friends tell you need to go sell it and make a business out of it. And obviously, it's way more than that. There's a lot that goes into that kind of stuff. And so I got them all involved and asked them if they wanted to go forward with it and actually do this. And oddly enough, they said yes. And so we started officially and incorporated back in April of 21. And by December, we were open as a bar. As most people know, we are not brewing yet. We have 80% of our equipment right now.
Right.
The other 20% is on the way. It's the part that takes time. And then right after that is installed, we can go to the agriculture department and revenue department and apply for our state licenses.
And you guys are over on Glen Milner,
Yes.
overlooking the Etowah.
Mm-hmm.
And what's the remedy part of your name?
So charity, we've kind of made it known, but we're trying to do a better job of that and make more announcements about it. We'll probably run an article in the paper soon.
Or you could do a podcast.
Or we could do a podcast. So what we've decided to do from the very beginning is donate a portion of all of our proceeds, or a portion of our proceeds in general, to charities. And what we do is we pick one every quarter, and
Now it's my turn to point.
So, for example, we opened up in December, and after the first quarter was over, we didn't tell anybody we were really doing this, and we had a rock concert in April, and at that rock concert, we presented the Davies Shelter with $2,000 check.
That's awesome.
And then back a few weeks ago, we had another rock concert in July, and we presented the Pause Shelters with a $2,200 check based on our sales. Right now, we are currently trying to support the CRBI, the Coosa River Basin Initiative.
Good for you guys. I knew it was an interesting story behind the name. All right, we'll circle back around. Let's check in with Matt Hart with the Boy Scouts of America, the Northwest Georgia Council. Hi, Matt.
Good morning.
Tell us a little bit about scouting that maybe we don't know.
Scouting, it's neat. I'm hearing both of these other guests talk about, they've started in 2020. A lot of folks don't realize, scouting's been around since, 112 years now. And
Wow.
we've been in Rome since 1912. And it's an institution. Multiple generations come through scouting. Now, scouting's changed a lot since 1910 and 1912, but it's a very exciting time. We're blessed to serve about 5,000 families in 7 Northwest Georgia counties. We're headquartered here. Most of the folks in this area know us best because of Camp Sidney Dew.
Right.
Camp Sidney Dew is Georgia's oldest scout camp, and it runs thousands of guests through it annually. It's an institution that is beloved. I see folks in town, they don't know I work for the Boy Scouts, but they know I run Camp Sidney Dew. So it's kind of the same thing, but our programs start from kindergarten, the youngest of programs, and we can keep a young person involved until they're 21. And, of course, we do that with about 3,000 dedicated volunteers across our area. So we jokingly say we got something for everyone from the womb to the tomb. It's something in scouting. And we're blessed. We're in a great part of the world where families love scouting. People love the outdoors. And through our various badge program, we can introduce you to about 159 different possible careers or hobbies that'll stay with you for forever. That's what it did for me.
Well, yeah, because you were in scouting. You're an Eagle Scout, right?
I'm an Eagle Scout from this council. So
good for you.
How long does that take? I don't really know anything about Boy Scouts, obviously.
Depends on the motivation of the young person, because in the scouting program, you set goals. That's what you teach a young person to set a goal and to set an objective. Some folks can do it as fast as 2 years. Then we have several that are sliding in our office parking lot on 2 wheels 30 minutes before their 18th birthday trying to get their paperwork in. So
okay, that's the deadline?
That's the deadline. You got to do it before you turn 18.
I think there's a lot of projects that have been done around this area, too, that were Eagle Scout projects.
They're all
that
over the
have
place.
Just helped so many of the local charities, but also just the county or our area in general. Eagle Scouts, I guess they pick a project. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am. The requirement is you plan everything involved with it. The goal here is to teach project management and project planning, because good Eagle Scouts, if you do it right, you won't lift your own finger. Your job is to plan it, get the approvals, visit with the beneficiary, recruit all the manpower, secure all the resources to make it happen from start to finish. And the beneficiary has to approve of it. That's one of the signatures on their Eagle application. But they're all over the place.
It's like everything. The projects themselves, though, are there is just such a wide variety of things. I know I read like last week, I think the Southeastern Guide Dog Association down in Florida had an Eagle Scout that came in and made some training equipment that they use for the puppies that they are training to be guide dogs. And then I've seen where there is, I guess, maybe handicap accessible or wheelchair accessible ADA type stuff that's built by Eagle Scouts.
There's no
gardens that are done by Eagle Scouts. It's amazing.
There's been lots around Rome. You go down to like the Lock and Dam area, fencing and campsites and trail work. We're blessed. We have about 50 to 60 Eagle Scouts on our council every year, and every one of them does a project.
It's just the project. It basically is just to improve on planet Earth, I guess, is the big. Like it's just something to benefit mankind or to benefit the area that they are in. Yeah,
the requirement reads working with your religious institution or community, do a project which guides, leads, and directs others. The only thing is the BSA cannot be a beneficiary of an Eagle project. I wish we could send them all to camp and they could do all their projects out there, but that's awesome. Not the way. It's got to benefit others, and there cannot be any self-serving in there. So
that's awesome.
Well,
lots of churches and that kind of thing.
This is the opportunity where I need to brag a little bit. I've got four nephews that made Eagle.
Oh, wow.
One in your council.
Good job.
Stuart Cates, Rome High student. His Eagle project was some picnic tables and everything for the Chieftains Museum.
Yep.
So shout out to my nephews.
Wonderful.
my sisters have done a good job raising their kids. I was a Weeblo for about 2 months way back when, and for some reason it didn't take with me, and I wish I had paid more attention to it. But
I hear that every day.
Yeah. Is it important for parents to be involved? Does that help the kids continue with the connection, or do some kids just jump in and they're all in all the time?
Well, some of both. In the Cub Scouting program, which is K through 5, it is a family-based program. Mom or dad or grandma, they're the person working with them in and out. Now, when they cross over into the Scouts BSA program, it's much more of a youth-led. So as you get older, you get more and more personal responsibility.
Right. Okay, that makes sense. I do want to talk about how, like Free Clinic of Rome, how are you guys funded?
So no state or federal funding comes to us.
Right.
We were founded in this community. We are supported by this community. Both hospitals, Harbin Clinic, are big supporters of ours. A lot of the local churches, private donors, and private businesses in the community. We do write for grants and receive grants, but we do have a fundraiser once a year. Just so happens it's tonight at 5:00 at the Wilder Center over here at First United Methodist Church.
Right.
And Louis Grizzard said, it's impossible to think anything but pleasant thoughts when you're eating a tomato sandwich. So it's always a good thing. But it's almost like a nice church homecoming. It's just good food, good people, good fun. If anybody is coming downtown for First Friday Night Concert, come see us. We're serving 5 to 7.
Tomato sandwiches?
For a tomato sandwich, get your tomato sandwich and your sweet tea and your homemade dessert. Yeah. And if you need it in the to-go box to take to the concert with you, fine. If you don't want our sweet tea, if you want to go grab a beer over at River Remedy and then go, that's fine too. But our fundraiser here, that is one of our big ways of bringing in funds. I have to brag about this. So we have the ability, when it comes to healthcare, everybody knows how expensive healthcare is. It's astronomical. But at the Free Clinic, we have the ability for every dollar donated to turn it into $10 worth of healthcare.
Okay.
For folks. We have the ability to make those bucks stretch a long way.
Good steward of the dollar.
We are good stewards of the dollar, but it's also because we have such great folks in this area that volunteer and help us. There's a little over 100 free and charitable care clinics in Georgia. believe it or not. We are one of only 3 that do not have to pay a physician or a mid-level like a nurse practitioner. We don't pay a physician to see our patients. Our patients, we have such great volunteers in this area, and always have. I have to give credit and say, one of the best docs we had, Dr. Robert Williams, we lost this past year. Dr. Williams was 82 years old and still seeing patients at the clinic before the lockdown happened. We have great people that have served on our board for a long time. Bill Carroll, who I can't even tell you now where in that 8th decade he is, but he's there. And he has been part of the free clinic back and forth several times throughout the life of the clinic, and has just done amazing stuff in the way of ownership and getting other people to support. He's an octogenarian, and I can't run fast enough to keep up with him. We have doctors the same way, nurses the same way, and families here that have just been awesome and always supporting. And I'll be honest with you, I feel like I have the best job because I get to be the ambassador. I get to be the nurse. I get to see those patients face to face, help take care of those patients, but see the good that's done there. And this is not so much about our community, but if you guys remember or happen to know what's happened in Eastern Kentucky this past week.
Oh, sure.
There was a community clinic in Eastern Kentucky, a Dr. Van Breeding that works there, and he sent out a plea saying everything in their clinic was underwater. Everything was gone. It was ruined. Whitesburg, Kentucky is in Letcher County. Letcher County has about 22,000 people. About 12,000 were affected by flash floods. And in that area, they lost so much. But Dr. Breeding put out a plea and said, we have nothing left in our clinic that hasn't been underwater. We need everything. We found this out about 10 o'clock Saturday morning. By 4 o'clock Saturday afternoon, y'all, there was $100,000 worth of medical supplies in a truck loaded up by 14 volunteers pulling out a free clinic parking lot heading to Whitesburg.
Oh, good for y'all.
A retired nurse here in our area and myself took this up, and we offloaded at 10:45 on Saturday night, and by 8 o'clock Sunday morning they were giving out insulin that nobody had and they desperately needed.
Good for y'all.
So it's great. It's great to see the work that goes in our community, but it's also great to have those people get behind you and support you and say, yes, if y'all can get it up there where somebody needs it worse than we do today, get it up there. So I love this community for what they do here, but I love this community for what they do for others too.
Sure. Good for you guys. Justin, we know how you're funded, selling beer.
Of course.
But it's also interesting. Not every business, when they open their doors, has a charitable heart to say, oh, we're going to give some proceeds to local charities. And I noticed that Matt already handed you his business card.
Yeah, of course.
So I'm not a beer guy, but there are people who are.
Excuse you. Excuse you.
If anybody thought Roger Manus was perfect, they now know he's not.
I don't think anybody has ever thought that. But apparently Carly's thirsty. Yeah, I'm not a drinker at all. I'm a Fanta orange, Sprite, milk, and orange juice guy. But anyway, but I get it. It's an art almost, these craft beers. And tell us a little bit about, as opposed to going to the grocery store and buying a 6-pack of something off. Tell us what it is about the art of what you guys do.
So craft breweries they're not new, but the idea of them in Georgia on this kind of scale is finally popping up. You always hear about how many breweries there are out in the Northwest. Like you go to Washington and there's like 300 in their state. We have last time I looked, it was like 120 in Georgia. But some of the laws are starting to change where you can do smaller ones like this. In fact, the one that changed for us to be able to do this was only changed back like 5 years ago. Breweries couldn't sell to the public until 5 years ago.
Oh, okay.
So because of that, now I can open up as a bar and work as a bar with my own product. As far as the art goes, it's all on the preferences of the brewer and also the communities that they work with. You always hear about the big name brands and the stuff that you see on the shelves, the 6-pack you can go buy at Kroger or whatever. And a lot of those are competing for what's popular, what's hip, and what's new, competing with the newest, coolest IPA or sour. In our case, we won't be doing that right off. We don't know when we'll be doing that. We're not worried about it. Our goal right now is to only be selling out of our local tap room here in Rome and adjust what we make based on what people drink here. So maybe that'll be a citrusy IPA. Maybe that'll be a raspberry sour. Who knows? Could be an amber. Could be an ESB from England type beer.
Carly, you're drooling?
Yeah, I was going to ask, how did you learn how to brew, become a brew master, I guess, if that's what it's called?
So, hold on, reset. So, I was at a party one time, and I was complaining to a guy that I barely knew, who now works for me as of 2 weeks ago, that I really liked these maltier style beers you have from Europe. The ones we're most familiar with are Guinness, Smithwick's, and Hart, or Newcastle Brown Ale, things like that. And American beer just wasn't that great to me, having Bud, Miller, and Coors domestic beers. At the time, Sweetwater was a thing, and I had that, and I didn't really care for it as much as back then because I wasn't an IPA person at all. Now it's kind of changed. But it was so hard to find a maltier, darker beer that I liked, and the only examples were extremely high gravity, basically not what I wanted. And this guy said, "Well, why don't you just make your own?" And I said, "Well, you can do that?" And he's like, "Yeah, I do it all the time in my house." Like, well, how? And he gave me some literature and links to stuff online to learn, and next thing you know, it took right off. I started brewing with a friend of mine at his house, and that was about 9 years ago. And wow. I've been kind of offhandedly brewing at my house ever since.
You too, Carly, can be your own.
I don't think I'm going to try that.
So I've got a question for you then, and this comes from someone who drinks wine more so than beer. A lot of times, with your different wines, they'll talk about the flavor of them, and I hear you saying, there's citrusy or the raspberry or whatever, but sometimes that's not because that actual fruit was infused into the flavor. It's because of however it was aged or however it came about. The flavors just kind of, I guess, imitate those flavors, and that's kind of what someone who's tasting it will get. Is that the same with beer as it is with wine? Am I making sense?
To a degree, yes. So with wine,
to say it's citrusy, is it truly have citrus in it, or is that just the flavor that it invokes?
A little bit of both, actually. So with wine, people would say, "Oh, I get notes of tobacco or chocolate or something like that in a Cabernet." It's those kind of things are very similar. Obviously, there's no chocolate or coffee in a glass of wine, but you get those notes from the characteristics of the barrel that it was in, or the yeast that they used, or the temperature they fermented at. Mm-hmm. With beer, though, you get that, but you also have a little bit more control in some of that. So hops are a flower, so they do have citrus in them. There are very similar chemicals to that are in there for the IPAs. So that citrusy character you get, like a pineapple type flavor, can actually just come from hops being that citrusy in character. And there's blends of different hops, and there's all kinds of new flavors that are just in between so many different worlds. And that's why a lot of guys like those kind of, or guys and girls, I should say, like those kind of.
It's the South. You can just say y'all.
Yeah.
Exactly. They like those kind of things because, maybe you like pineapple, maybe you like tangerine, and one of these beers is in between those two in a citrus scale, and you can't place it, but you get notes of both of those together. How to make those just comes from trial and error.
And here you are. Well, that's the truth in a lot of things.
That's right.
Matt, I did want to touch base with you about, you basically dedicated your life to scouting because you were a scout, and then you started working for the scout, and I think you were a Rome native, mm-hmm. and because scouting does not let you become a scout executive in the council where you've been working, you went to Valdosta, mm-hmm. then I think you said Tallahassee, and came back here as a scout executive. So you've kind of been in it to win it the whole time.
That's right.
Tell us about, here's some trivia for you, Carly. We've been to the moon. I know you know.
Oh, my God.
12 men have walked on the moon. 11 of them were Eagle Scouts.
That's correct.
Wow. That's very impressive.
Yeah. And I forget who the loser was, who was the 12th one.
And he was a scout. He just didn't make it.
Yeah. Maybe the 18th birthday snuck up on him.
Could be.
But to work for an organization that tries to mold and instill positive values of community service and helping your fellow man and all that. Just talk about the value system of scouting and what that means to your life to have influence so many young people.
Absolutely. everything we do in scouting, if you look at our, we have all these, a lot of folks call it a game with a purpose. Kids get into scouting because they want the fun. They want to learn how to swim or shoot or climb or do all the activities. And while they're doing that, we're slipping in things like the Scout Oath and the Scout Law and, the character. Parents want a solid foundation for their kids, and that's all we're doing. We're trying to give them character through adversity. I can think back to hundreds of experiences in scouting, but the one that sticks out was thought I was going to die at Camp Sidney because it was 6 degrees and I wasn't prepared. And just like making beer.
I thought the whole thing was be prepared.
That's right. Trial and error, just like making beer. You learn that, this will never happen to me again.
Yeah.
And we teach, you teach a young person learn to follow, then learn to lead. And there's not too many things for a young person where they learn that leadership development, whether it's their Eagle project or being a patrol leader or being, you're planning this, it's adult guided. And for me, I've been in scouting since I was 7 years old, and I spent 20 years on the camp staff. And we have this thing where we talk about of every 100 scouts that have joined, it goes through all these different steps. This many will have their first interaction with the church. This one will use their scouting skills to save someone's life. This one will save their own life. There's about 20 of those. And I go down there and go, I got 17 of those myself. And I just know what it did for me. That's been my life work. I want every young person in Northwest Georgia to have the same experience I did. I know what it did for me. I know what it's done for thousands of kids that have come through the program. And if we can put better employees out there, better fathers, better mothers, we've done our bit for
better
the
citizens,
that are participating. I'm going to leave here and head down to our Rotary Club meeting in a little bit. And you'd ask, that's a club that's full of adults that give back to the community. And you ask them, you ask them to raise their, how many of you guys and gals were in scouting as a young person? And like 90% of the hands go up.
Yeah.
So we're teaching traits that stay with people their entire life.
Yeah,
now, I think a little competition is always good for the soul. Is it Scouts that do is it the Pine Derby?
Pinewood Derby.
Pinewood Derby.
Cub Scouts do that, yep. It's
Yes.
our K through 5th graders.
And that's one of those deals where everybody starts with the same box of ingredients or a block of wood. There you go. And then they all start off with the same tools to work with, and it depends on how much time, effort, and intelligence they put into it as to whether or not
it gets highly competitive.
I had heard that.
It's like NASCAR. Everybody gets the same tools. And
So what you do with your axles and your body and your aero package, and it's crazy.
Well, let's we need to kind of be wrapping up. So just want to go around and touch base with everybody one more time about contact information. So how can the community connect with you, support you? And the nonprofits obviously need cash and volunteers and what have you. So Renee, let's start with you. Like, where are you guys located? Hours? What do you need? And social media, website. What can people do to connect with you?
So we are centrally located. So we're on the public transportation line, and hopefully make it easier for a lot of our patients. Even though we do serve the greater Rome area, Chattooga County, Polk County, Bartow, all around. We are in Rome at number 3 Professional Court. We do have a website at www.Free Clinic of Rome. And on that website, there is an available or a donate button there for anyone who just wants to give on our website. We love good old fashioned checks in the mail. Makes my day to go check the mail and there be something in there as a donation. We are a nonprofit organization, so donations are tax deductible. Kind of a downside, but since the pandemic happened, a lot of people used to want to donate the medicines that they had at home and no longer use that type of thing. Unfortunately, because of this nasty virus that still goes around and a lot of contagions that are still around and things that have been in homes themselves for a while, we are unable to bring in donations that people bring us from their homes anymore. And that is unfortunate. We would love to be able to do that. What we can take, however, though, is a book of stamps, a case of toilet paper, paper towels, cleaning wipes, anything that's day-to-day clinic cleaning supplies are always great and will always be used with us, and we appreciate that. But the monetary donations, again, you can go to our website and do that, and or just, something in the mail.
Okay, great. Justin, you guys are on Etowah. on the Etowah River.
Yes, we are.
Glenn Milner Boulevard. But hours and website, social media, how can people connect?
All of the above. We're at 320 Glenn Milner Boulevard. We're open Tuesday through Saturday. We open up at 4 on the weekdays. We open up at noon on Friday and Saturday. We are closed on Sundays and Mondays because we need a day off.
Right.
And, we have all the social media. We're doing Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and I'm even trying to head up a YouTube channel where I'm trying to give updates and show stuff that I'm doing to build this place out and the progress. And later on, I'm going to be showing some brewing stuff on there as well, I think.
What did we do before social media?
Mm-hmm.
The face, Instagram, Snap, tweet stuff.
For people that don't know, Roger's always pointing at me about the social media.
Because Carly's rolling her eyes. I'm the old guy who's on Facebook.
Before things go off on Justin, though, I want to say this is a podcast, so you guys can't see. Justin rocks a beard. If you don't go just for the beard, you ought to at least see the beard. There's a lot of hard work that goes into that, isn't there, Justin?
Go ahead.
Apparently, it's a pre-requirement there because everybody has one.
It's maybe there's a marketing slogan there, beer and beards or something. It's or ZZ Top wannabes or
only because I know how much product and mirror time my husband takes on his mustache alone. Can I appreciate what all goes into that?
I can't even grow sideburns, so I'm envious here.
Mine was just laziness. I got out of the Navy and I didn't want to shave
wish I
anymore.
had laziness that turned out looking like that. Good.
All right, Matt, with the Northwest Georgia Council of the Boy Scouts, connectivity information, website, social media. How can people get involved?
Yeah, our first front line is our website, nwgabsa.org. This is a busy time of year for us. We've got to visit every single classroom in 7 counties. It's a lot of information on joining there. We do have a big fundraiser coming up. Our golf tournament is in September. All the information on Camp Sidney Dew. It's Alumni Association. So if you've got listeners that came to camp 40 or 50 years ago and want to keep a loose connection, they can see about our alumni. But it's all there. We're also on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube channels. Just type in Northwest Georgia Boy Scouts. It'll come up. Probably more things we want to come up will come up. But we appreciate all the support. We are about 90% funded directly from individual contributions. And that's our bread and butter. You'll see a lot of kids out here actually starting Saturday. Our popcorn sale kicks off for the fall. So you'll see all the kids out trying to earn their own way. They're selling their product. So that's what we teach them in scouting.
I've bought a lot of popcorn over the years.
Good. They'll be down here knocking on your door here.
You were the good uncle then?
Yeah. That's right. Well, and I bought a lot of cookies from the Girl Scouts too, because I'm a tag-along guy. Yeah, you can tell.
Scouting rounds a guy out more ways than one.
I bought a lot of popcorn over the years. It's good stuff. Yeah. So, okay, Carly, from the chamber, any final thoughts? What's going on? Ribbon cuttings, you name it.
Always. We always have ribbon cuttings, always events. So everyone can always go to our website at romega.com. Our calendar's there. Want to thank everyone that comes on to the podcast. We appreciate everything that you guys do, being part of the chamber. We would love if everyone would follow us on social media, because we do love to highlight different chamber members with awards that they've maybe won and stuff like that. So we would love for the community to maybe get back with us if y'all have anything to share, kind of thing.
Yeah, and if you're out there considering starting a business in Rome, or if you're listening, because this is a podcast where, it's on the World Wide Web, it's on that inner thing where you can listen to it anywhere. It's a great town, great people. First place you should start is with the chamber, because you can create connections, and then you can come be on the podcast.
Yes, and Roger loves to talk to people.
Oh, my goodness. Well, thank you, everybody. This has been fun. We do appreciate it. You've been listening to the Rome-Floyd Chamber Small Business Spotlight. We broadcast from the Hardy Realty Studios on Broad Street in downtown Rome, Georgia, and we work in cooperation with the Rome News Tribune. Thank you so much for listening.